Not all of the problems have to be solved. Not all of them. Oh, you might say, what are you talking about? Well, if you're in the phase of building your business, not growing, not scaling, you're figuring out a way how to solve that problem for your customers, and you want to have this foundation well done. How I'm gonna sell the product, how I'm gonna sell this idea or this solution, how am I going to communicate it, how am I going to attract the clients, how am I going to create an offer, a premium offer. So you're right in this phase where you're struggling to build your business, the foundation. And you're looking for and you say, I want to solve one problem for my customers, but I'm going through thousands of problems right now. So the proportion is a little bit unfair. And there are so many maybes which are going through your head. You're wondering, am I enough? Am I smart? And can I ever do it? What the heck have I got here? And at the same time, you still want to go forward. You still want to go forward, but the further you go, the more problems you face. And boom, here we go, watching this video, and I just told you not all of the problems have to be solved. Well, I know it might sound a little bit painful, but I will share with you today during this masterclass 3 problems which I tried to solve, and each of them took almost a year, each of them, which could have been avoided or was not the right time. And also, we're going to look at the 3 reasons why we are so stuck to these problems. We want to solve everything. We want to make everything smooth right from the beginning. And because of our burning ambition, we are blindsided, and we can't understand how is that possible that I do have so many problems. And from one aspect, that's true. We've got to go through so many obstacles because that prepares us and helps us to become better so that we can grow and then scale our business. But we can't get there if we don't go successfully through it. But you can't go successfully through it if all you see are just problems. There needs to be something else. So because our ambition is so burning, sometimes we just can't see the reason why where are we going through them and what's on the other side of them. And also, I'm going to share with you 3 things which you can do right now that will change this amount of problems that you're going through. And these will change your life. I thought I'm just me. I thought that this is only me having all those problems when I was going through exactly that phase of building your business and getting your offer to the world. But then I discovered that's not only me. And because of that, my pleasure and honor is to serve you today so that you can go through that phase successfully. All right, good. So you would like to take some notes because we've got a lot to share today. I'm going to use my Blackboard, and you're going to use your digital device where you're going to take notes on paper, as I also like a lot. So let's begin. So simply put, you're here. This is you. And there is where you want to get. And let's imagine just so that we can easily grasp the concept. So imagine you're in front of a river, okay? There's a river, and you gotta go somehow over it, through it, and you want to get here. And wherever you want to get, the impression where the sensation is, this is a life-changing situation or outcome, or this is a life and death problem, is something that I gotta go right now, otherwise I'm dead and I will never get through it, and I must go through it, but I don't know how. And if you're wondering too much, you might not even jumping into the river. All right. So the 3 reasons why we are, because of our ambition is burning, and we are so into doing more and doing faster and doing better, and because we're so focused here, others are focused on the river. So the category number 1 is because they are extremely focused on the river, on the problem. That's the category number 1. The second reason and the second category, which I'm most from the category number 1. But we move from one category to the other from time to time. The second category is because we are over-focused on ourselves. It's just here. This is the second category. We're so We're so worried about how do we look, how am I going to be perceived, let me get ready, let me look better, let me do this, let me learn more of that, more of this. We can spend 10 years being extremely focused on ourselves, but not from the growing perspective, but from the perspective of how can I increase my self-perception and so on and so forth. The third category, and by the way, the more you're focused on yourself here and the more you want to, you're worrying about how are you going to be perceived and am I ready or not, am I good or not. Sometimes let's just drop here on my mic. If we think sometimes for ourselves that we are not enough, probably sometimes that's true. Yeah, we're not enough. We are enough to get from where we're coming to this moment. But in order to get where we're going, probably we're not enough, but we can become enough. It's all right. Sometimes we're not ready, and that's okay. What's the problem? The third category is because we are so focused on our goal, on our step, and we think that this is the end of the world. If I don't get here, I'm not gonna get anywhere. And this is the third category. So in which of these three categories do you find yourself most often? Do you find yourself extremely focused on the problems? You just get so obsessed, because all of these three are obsessions. And the obsession comes from drive and energy, because that's ambition. Drive and energy, that's ambition. You put drive and energy, that's ambition. You just gotta drive, but you don't have the energy in order to elaborate technically or strategically, or you can't even elaborate it for yourself. So drive and energy, you've got ambition. Now, the ambition without purpose is just ambition. And you might be hitting the same wall again and again. You might be fighting invisible problems or getting stuck into solving a problem. Let me share with you one thing. It's almost 10 years ago, maybe around 9 years ago. I spent almost a year because I was so worrying about how is going to look my landing page. And I was so sure that I'm the best in the world to make that landing page. And I found an online constructor, and I spent so much time learning how to edit videos, how to record videos, and I learned all the softwares in the world, and also landing pages through. My first landing page, let me tell you one thing, my first landing page I've built was made of pictures. So I was putting a picture on top of another picture, so just JPEG format. That was my landing page. And then I was wondering why it doesn't change on the phone format. I was like, oh my, why? They are not smart enough. Being so sure that that's the problem I've got to do. And I spent almost a year because I said, if I don't get good at building landing pages, I will never build my business. And trust me, I was so sure about it. Now, I don't know if you're at that stage or not, or maybe you overcome it. Yeah, and if you're already over it, now you're listening to me or saying, don't tell me, I spent months as well, and changing my landing page, my sales page, and changing it again and again and again, without even thinking for a second what's going to be the user experience, how the customer is going to perceive when they come to this product or to this service. All right, so the category number one is because we're so focused on this problem. Now, if we're using the river metaphor, it's true. It's very true that in order to move forward, we got to have this conviction that the idea of walking on water should be more attractive than being attacked by the crocodiles. And when we are crocodiles and when we are very ambitious, we don't even know what the crocodiles are going to be. Like, what am I going to face? But the ambition is there. It's so powerful. And we need that. But if you get so much focused on how are you going to fight every crocodile you're going to meet on your way, on your journey, on your path, here's the number one thing you want to do for this thing. Now we're going to go through the second reason and the second solution, and through the third reason and the third solution. So let's focus now on the number one. Ask yourself, that's 1.1. Ask yourself, how have I got to this river? How have I got to this river? By looking forward By looking backward, we can connect some dots. We can understand some things about ourselves. We can look backward and say, hey, every single time when I start to face a problem, I have this idea that nobody can solve it, and just I'm the best of the one solving it. Have you gone through this sensation? You're so sure that nobody understands how it needs to be done. What was the decision? So here's what to do when you're facing a problem which seems surmountable, because sometimes it seems surmountable, sometimes it is surmountable because that's not the problem that you have to go through right now. Ask yourself, how have I got into this situation? What was the previous decision, the third, the fourth, the fifth, the 10th decision backward that led to this situation? So that you can give yourself some time and to ask yourself, hey, I know I'm good at solving problems. I know I want to go forward. I know I have my destination. But sometimes, just because one thing brings you another thing, a problem brings another problem. Let me say this. Problems are sneaky and we are sticky. Yes, it's true, problems arise there and we haven't had any idea about this problem. We didn't know we're going to face so many crocodiles in the river, but sometimes we get so obsessed with proving to ourselves that we can win a crocodile or we can win a fight, and we forget about where we're coming from and where are we going. So here's this question. Ask yourself, right now in the problem that you're facing and it seems that's impossible to go through, how have I got into it? This is the number one. And do not confuse it with your high self-belief. Now, we don't want to weaken these convictions that the idea of walking on water should be more attractive than fighting the crocodiles. Because yes, we're going to face some crocodiles, but you still have to have this high self-belief conviction, self-belief, reassurance that you can do it and you have to go through. But we have to make sure that we're facing the right river, the right problem, so that we don't get obsessed with it. The second category for which our ambition, our desire to win blocks us. You don't spend time thinking. Yeah, that's true. By thinking, I don't mean feeling, I mean thinking. Because our fears and because our desire to win and because we haven't done it yet, we never done it before, and we're facing this big problem in front of us, because of that, we experience so many feelings. We're so focused on what others are going to feel about us. How are we going to feel, or how do we feel about ourselves now? Because we don't see ourselves enough or strong enough. We don't see ourselves ready, and we want to be ready, but we don't think. We don't look backward. We don't reflect. We don't give back. We get just obsessed with me and only me because we're a little bit scared. Now, what to do? Because look, if you're extremely focused only on yourself, you're going to find only problems and weaknesses, problems and weaknesses, problems and weaknesses. But I don't know anyone who got successful for something at something just being focused on their weaknesses. And I know we perfectionists, recovering perfectionists, welcome to the club. We sometimes get so attached to making everything good because we think that everyone in the world thinks just about us, and they think only about what do we do and how is this website is going to look, or is this product ready or not ready. It's almost ready, but it can be a little bit more ready, and we spend more time and more time and more time perfecting it. I can tell you one thing. This is the second thing for which I spent almost a year. I haven't thought about where I want to get once I go through this river. I didn't think about it. What I was thinking which was feeling, not thinking, I just wanted to prove to myself that I can swim. And when you are so focused only on yourself and only on your weaknesses, you are so worried about Can I swim? Can I go through this No, you're not ready. You haven't been through, but you will. When you go through, you will be a little bit more ready, and you're gonna get some scratches. Some crocodiles are gonna bite you in your ass. You're gonna lose some finger here and there, and that's all right. That's the journey which will help you and me to become wiser and to know when we have to swim, when we have to just cross the river, when we sometimes have to go backward a little bit because we've got to the wrong shore just because we were attached in a chain process of solving problems and we became so obsessed with the problems. So when we are focused only on ourselves, we will find many problems and more problems and more problems, and they will never end. We've got to get over ourselves a little bit. I want to share with you this quote which changed my life. You've got to find yourself, to know yourself. You've got to know yourself, to be yourself. You've got to be yourself, to improve yourself. You've got to improve yourself, to get over yourself and give yourself to others. There is a process and there is a chain of events and transformation. And if we don't allow ourselves to be transformed and led also by our intuition, also using our thinking, and if you struggle with making the distinction between feelings and thinking, and you want to think, and it seems to you that you're thinking rationally and strategically, but then you find yourself in a few minutes, if not seconds, that you are full of doubt and you're worrying, and you tell yourself, I didn't want to worry, I just wanted to think. But you couldn't think, and every single time you catch yourself feeling and worrying and doubting, go to Exploraself the description, right in the description below. So there's a link, it's a free program. There's a free version, you'll also have the paid version. Hack your mind before it hacks you is the program you need right now to go and watch and learn. We have also a workbook there for you, so we're going to do some work so that you can start to use your strategic thinking when you think about your problems, when you think about yourselves, when you think about your purpose, and where are you headed. Now, when we are over-focused on ourselves and we don't spend time thinking, why we don't spend time thinking? Very often is because we think we have an unlimited amount of time. We don't spend enough time thinking because we think we have an unlimited amount of time. But if we stop and we just realize one thing, that if you're 25, you're 30, you're 20, you're 30, do the math, you're a third, a fourth, a fifth of your life, and you got blessed with 100 years, then we've got to look at it and say, oh, right, good. That's how I've spent this portion of my life. Good. Now, I don't want to put any pressure on you, but we got to be realistic. We're adults, so we can speak about it and we can ask ourselves, good, how do I want to spend the second part of my life, the third part of my life? So we've got to look at ourselves from a different perspective. From a different perspective means to get out of the feeling process, just feeling and being over-focused on ourselves, to get over yourself and then to realize that you are not ready, but that's okay. You'll be ready when you get through it. And say to yourself, what if I didn't have this problem or this worry about myself? How do I look? Am I good? What people are going to say? Do I look like an expert? Don't I look like an expert? Just don't worry about that. Now ask yourself this. If I didn't have any these kind of problems about myself, what would I do? What would I do? What's the purpose of this crossing river process? Now imagine for yourself, just imagine, that's 2.2. If I was ready for whatever ready means to you, what would I do? Where would I go? What would I do? Just ask yourself, if you didn't have these problems, what would be the point of crossing this river, of solving all these problems that through which you're going right now? The second problem, which almost took a year for me, is I recorded a program, and then I recorded the second program, and then the third program, and the fourth program. I didn't even have money to buy another hard disk because of how long were the files and how many gigabytes they were waiting. I just didn't have space anymore. I didn't know where to put because I didn't even have money to put them on a cloud. But when I started to focus on how can I help people, of how can I start serving someone which is around me right now, money came in. But I didn't spend the money on buying more space where I can put all my videos. Because I had no idea who am I talking to, what the problem that I was solving. I was worrying about myself, and I was extremely focused on how am I going to be perceived. And I was spending time on crazy stuff, constantly worrying about the fact that I am not ready. Now, did that help a little bit? Yes, but if I could have allowed myself to spend a little bit of time on thinking, hey, what's the problem am I solving? How am I good at communicating this problem? Am I addressing the pain that the people are going through? How am I going to solve this problem? How am I going to help them to see the vision which is in front of them, but they're a little bit too focused on something else and they can't see it? How can I do that? Where are those people? Where do they hang out? What do they do? What are their hobbies? And where can I find them? When I start to think more and feel less, by feel I mean worry and doubting myself being ready or not, my life changed. And I know it might sound a little bit harsh and a little bit discouraging from one side, but just allow yourself to ask and ask yourself, if I didn't have these worries, what's the purpose of solving this amount of problems which I'm going through? Let me share with you where is you and where is everything else and where you want to get. Because where you want to get sometimes is not where you are right now, right? So why should we worry so much about ourselves? So here is you. Now the second one is your skill. What skills have you developed? What at are you good, or you could become exponentially better if you focus on? What are those skills? Stop worrying about your weaknesses and about your shortages and about all your things which are not perfect and not good. Start focusing on your strengths a little bit and ask yourself, what am I good at? Maybe you have a golden mind of a skill which you're sitting on right now, but all you're worrying about your shovels and the weather, if the weather is good, rather than focusing on that good skill, on those gifts which God has already given to you. So here's you, then comes the skill, then comes a cause for which you're bleeding, for which you're so part of it. You just want to, you're bleeding for this cause. What is this? Freedom of your nation? Okay, that's not it. What is it? Pregnant women which struggle with their fitness situation. Good, that's your cause, because you've got you've been through and you know how it feels. I don't know how it feels. If you're a woman, you know how it feels. Or if you're a man and you became very good at. Okay, let's stick to fitness. You know how to become stronger, not leaner. Not how to win a bodybuilding contest, at which I was very good at helping others winning bodybuilding contests, me being a professional athlete myself. Maybe you're good at helping others becoming stronger. Maybe you're good at something else. Maybe communication is your thing. Maybe designing things is your skill. Just start focusing on one thing at which you are very good at. Find a group of people which are bleeding and they are in pain morning tonight because they are not good at what you are good at, and they will never be so good as you are at that thing, and do that for them. That will allow you to start to become better and develop better. Your skill will allow you to bring some cash flow so that you can start to grow, you can start to leverage things so that you can grow and eventually scale your business. But you can't get to scaling and growing if you don't build your business. By building your business is knowing your skills, know your strengths, focus on one thing, one problem, communicate that problem, say it again and again, communicate, be online, communicate that, find those people around you physically, go knock at the doors. Hello, can I help you? I'm good at this. That's how you start. If you're refusing doing that, probably it's because you're so focused only on yourself that you're preparing for yourself to become the king of the universe, but you can't solve one problem at which you're very good at already solving, and you refuse that. Well, it smells to me a little bit like arrogance and not like having a purpose and having a big dream to which you're swearing that you want to get and you want to make it happen. Make sure that you're also thinking and not only feeling. It sounds a little bit harsh, but we gotta go through it. And if you don't have a thin skin, then I'm sure you can go through it. because everybody went through. I did, everybody else did, you can too. The number 3 is the cause for which you're bleeding. It's close to your heart. You've been through a problem. You solved it for yourself or for others, or it's part of your story. My story is being ambitious because helping others in bodybuilding contests and fitness. And my story is that I started to not only help my clients on how can I achieve their dream, but I started to think different. Than I said, how can I make sure that I help them to develop the confidence which they want to have, which will allow them to do with more passion what they're doing, so that they can start to believe in themselves, not just following the rules. So this was a step which allowed me to start to develop my leadership skills. Now, how I've got to be a personal trainer, it was 6 years dreaming about wearing a white polo while I was working at the restaurant. So I was working in a restaurant. I was dreaming about helping other people, guiding them on their fitness journey, because I was on the journey I was successfully going through. But one thing I lacked. I didn't, but I was not aware of it. That if I don't tell anybody that I want to help, and I focus only on myself, that one day I will wake up and I will say, oh, let me wear a white polo today. It doesn't happen this way. It happens, I'm not that white polo. I'm not that personal trainer. I am not the waiter. I am who I am. And if I allow myself to be who I am, I don't need a white polo. I don't need to speak the language without accent. I live in Italy right now, and I do speak Italian without the accent almost. But 12, 13 years ago, I had an accent, so I thought that I should get rid of the accent before I'm ready to be a personal trainer. Wrong question. Absolutely wrong question. But hey, we go through. So just when we decide that we are going to allow ourselves to be who we are, we don't need things from around us to tell, oh, now you're ready. Or that we can bring to ourselves, oh, now I will step up. It doesn't happen this way. So you've got to have a cause for which you're bleeding, for which your heart is pouring out because you've been through. It's your problem, is that you solved for yourself. If you don't know, go back to number 2, which is your skill. Let me work a little bit more on the skill. But if you can solve a small problem, find 100 people who can solve that problem as fast as possible. That will allow you to move forward. The third one is the cause. You've got to have that cause very close to your heart. The number 4, transform it in a mission. Hey, I'm going to spend my next 3 or 4 years spending 10 hours a day for this cause again and again and again. And this is going to be the mission I am on. What's the mission? The mission is your path towards your vision. Everybody, not everybody, but most of us has a vision, but we don't have a mission. What am I going to am I going to sacrifice? Not sacrifice, but give my time, share my energy, pour myself into that, and do the work which is required to be done. Oh, it's getting hot in here. So the number 5 is to have a vision. So that's the chain that you've got to pay some attention to. All right, when it comes to get over yourself a little bit and to stop worrying about your readiness or how do you look and what others are going to say and so on and so forth. Because this is the second category of people which are extremely focused on themselves and they lose the bigger picture. The bigger picture is to have a cause, to have a mission on which you are, who you want to serve, how are you going to do that. These are the problems we should be preoccupied with and not being over-focused with yourself. This is the second category. Let's look a little bit at the third category. Let's switch the color. That will be better. Good. Yeah, that will be better. Like this thing. You see, like that's a very old habit of mine. We could have also not changed the colors, but this would be a little bit better. Now, if this thing requires 4 or 5 seconds, okay, maybe, but 5 seconds there, 5 minutes there, 2 seconds here, 10 minutes there, 1 day here, Boom, then we don't have time. Then we start to worry ourselves because I could have avoided changing the color, and also could have avoided to not share what I'm sharing with you, but it just came in handy. So because sometimes we're focused on the colors, oh, let me tell you this, months of that moment when I didn't know the problem I'm going to solve, I didn't know where are my people that I'm going to help. I was worrying about finding people which will allow me to create better text and a copywriter for the website, color palette. I'm not kidding. I was looking for a specialist online which will help me to figure out the color palette of my website. And I had no idea which are the people that the first business was in a better physique and nutrition and fitness. Color palette. That's what I thought I needed. And I spent weeks, probably more than a month, finding the specialists and worrying about the colors. Crazy stuff, guys. Crazy stuff. But we do these things, but we gotta stop because ambition. I can get it done. I can get it done. That's what ambition says. I can get it done. Yeah, no problem. If you lived 500 years, you probably could get it done. But you've got a destination where you want to get after you go through this problem. And this is what the third category comes in. The third category are the people. Let's look now on the blackboard. So the third category is those which they think that if I don't solve this thing, if I don't solve this problem, my life is going to be ruined. I will never get where I want to get if I don't cross this river. Where sometimes that might be true. Very often, it's not. Now, I know this is not the Bible study, leadership and wisdom channel, YouTube channel, which I'm going to leave the link in the description below for that channel if you want to look for a biblical perspective for self-growth, self-leadership, leadership, and business. This channel is for business, but I cannot not saying it. God is in control of what's going to happen next. As you can't predict it, but what you're responsible for is to put your energy and your vision and your strategy and your strategic thinking and your emotions and your thinking and everything you've got into now, so that now you make the right decision. And you'll see where to get from the next one. You've got a vision, a destination. You've got that crazy vision for yourself. That's amazing. That's not yours too. It somehow happened to be alive within you. Now, if you think that if you don't solve the problem that you're going through, it's a life and death problem, probably it is a habit. It is an obsession. Now, what to do when you find yourself into these kind of thinking? Ask yourself, and we already talked about it. If I was to cross this river, now the other question for the second category was if I didn't have any problems here. Now ask yourself, if I didn't have this problem, if I didn't have it, where would I be? Where would I be? And what would I be busy doing? Where would you be? And what would you be busy doing? Oh, you might say, oh, if I didn't have this problem, then probably my business would be, if you want to write down the questions, because you got to answer these questions. Now back to the second category. You don't think because you think you don't spend time thinking because you think you have unlimited time here on earth. We've got to, don't listen to those which are constantly saying emotions, we don't have a place for emotions. No, we need emotions. Oh, ego is the enemy. No, ego is not the enemy. Ego is another part of who you are and needs to be managed as everything else. Oh, if you're extremely ambitious, that's not good. You've got to also focus on the purpose. Yes, the leading is on the purpose, but in order to move forward, you've got to have drive and energy. Put them together, you've got ambition. Where are you going to go without ambition? So yes, we need to be ambitious. Everything needs to be there. Now, our ability to not only manage, just to use and leverage them when it's comfortable for us, but to lead them, it's on us. But let's stop saying this nonsense. We don't need this, we don't need that. That's wrong, this is only the right. No, let's not get delusional about it. So yes, we have to spend some time thinking about our business. You got to think a little bit. Hey, what a little bit of strategic thinking there. And the questions which I've shared with you are going to help you. How have I gotten to this problem? What were the decision-making process? What was the decision-making process which allowed me to get here? Where am I going now? Who are the people I want to solve? How am I going to communicate the offer which I've got from them? Otherwise, you spend time being very busy. Just a few days ago, speaking to someone, and that was the sentence I heard many times, but the most recent one was a friend of mine, a better friend before. We're good acquaintances now. Things change in life. I'm busy. The whole year I've been busy. Money aren't there. It's true sometimes. Seasons and times belongs to God. But if we are sticky to the problems, we are worrying only about ourselves, we criticize ourselves like crazy, and we doubt constantly our identity that we are great. I don't know, we might spend 10 years, 40 years not getting money. You can't say this is God's problem when God made you in His image, but you say I'm an idiot. Well, who are you offending? Yourself? Your mind is going to change your idea in a few seconds, hopefully. But who are you offending? The Creator. So, very careful with this confusion identity. By that, I don't mean the nonsense which is going today in the world. I mean your identity as who do you think you are? Good, not good, smart, idiot, dumb, the greatest, all these things. Am I deserving? Oh, what was the question? Deserving or not? Where this question comes from? Let's stop asking, do we deserve, do we not? Just do the hell you want to do. The fire which is burning within you, let it go, let it be explosive forward and do the things, jump on the things, start doing, reflect at the evening, at night, at least 5 minutes, reflect an hour every week, just reflect a little bit, but do the thing and just go as crazy as you want. What's this deserve, I don't deserve? I know, we all go through, so I'm not saying that you shouldn't have been having this question. No, we all do have. But let's stop this nonsense and let's switch the question. How far can I go? How fast can I get there? What leverage can I use? These are better questions. The number 3, if you didn't have this problem, what would you'd be doing? Because look, if you are building, you've got a big vision, right? So you want a multi-million business. Okay, that's good. Now, ask yourself, from building my business, which is not your business, but are people's business, you're in people's business, you solve their business, so their life gets better. You're not in your business, you're in people business. You don't build your business, you build people. You don't grow your business, you grow the amount of people you can serve. You grow the quality which you can offer, the amount of solutions you have got for them. You don't scale your business, you scale your service. So people are so happy because they've got your solution or your service, and they are crazily exponentially sharing that with everybody. That's scaling. Of course, in the process, you leverage the thing here and there. Absolutely. So let's switch the perspective. My business, building my business, growing my business, scaling my business. Where do you go without people? I'm just saying, switch the perspective. You'll get there faster. So you've got a great vision for yourself. Amazing. Now, you understand that, right? That if you just do 10 times more in a day, whatever you do now, you don't get there 10 times faster. You probably will get 10 times better. But you don't have 240 hours a day, you have only 24. Therefore, you understand that I've got to make the essential now in this phase so that I can get to the growing. Now, I'm not saying you have to start worrying about the growing, but you've got to know the essential for the growing. What means growing a business? Because that's where I'm going. I want to grow my business next year or in the next 6 months or in 6 months. Okay, good. What is required for that phase? Now, what is growing? Because the growing is your next phase. Now scaling. Oh, but if we don't think about it, how are we going to grow? How are we going to grow our business? So then you can start to realize and think, oh my God, I got to start faster to get clear on my mission, my vision, and who am I serving? How am I going to manage my time? Maybe you have already a job, you can't leave your job because you are investing your time into your this affair you want to solve, into this service you want to bring to the people. So you're all over the place, and you want to know, like, what's the surefire formula? What's the surefire formula for success? Well, I can't tell you the surefire formula for success, but I can tell you the surefire formula for failure, for constant failure. Worry on about yourself. Don't think, don't reflect. Just act emotionally out of feelings and continue worrying, doubting. Reassure, stay relaxed. You're constantly going to go through failures. Therefore, before we start to focus, we got to be aware of it. So then comes the time when we say, okay, now it's time to focus on this thing. As for the skills, boom, you become aware that in order to grow your business, you'll have to develop some skills like leadership, or how to develop a team building tools, how to hire greater people, which tools should you leverage. Today are so many tools you can leverage. So in order to start to be a little bit more pragmatic and more strategic in your building phase of your business, you've got to start to become aware of, like, what's the growing phase? Okay, because the growing phase will require this and this. Okay, good. Let me make sure now that I do the essential, which will allow me to cross this bridge, to build this bridge and cross this river so that I can go in the growing phase. If you don't get the essential right, then you can go to the growing. And if you don't become aware of what's next, you don't develop the leadership skill which you need in order to move quicker and faster and stop solving every problem on your path. Because yes, it's true from one perspective. The better you become at solving problems, the faster you solve the next one. And it's true, we are into solving problems process. But which problems? So you don't just get focused on solving problems. So this is the third one. Asking yourself, what would I be busy doing, and where would I be if I didn't have this problem, or if I had this problem already solved, so that you can start to enlarge your vision. And I know our mind is sometimes so good at being focused on problems, because this is what that's what your mind does. Your mind is good at rational thinking, and you put there a feeling in, boom, you might get stuck there for a year because your brain will be busy thinking why and how and where, and you'll get lost. The first personal skill before you get to self-leadership, before you get into the growing and managing and leveraging and good and disciplined and powerful, so then you can lead others as well. That's leadership. Before self-leadership comes before leadership comes self-leadership. Before self-leadership comes self-management. Before self-management comes self-knowing. Before self-knowing comes self-developing. And the first skill you've got to solve for yourself, to develop and grow for yourself, is your mind control. To control this power, to control these horses, which are there crazy. And if you don't get control of that, your mind is running wild. It's running wild, and then you get obsessed with solving one problem or another problem, many problems, only problems, and you never get to cross this river. You never get to the next stage. You never get to growing your business and scaling your business. Therefore, let's manage our ambition. Let's manage our ambition. For that, you need to think rationally, so that you can direct this power, you can direct this energy, you can use this drive, not just for the feeling process, and not just for proving to yourself that you can do it and you can swim. You'll learn to swim faster along the way when you're crossing this river. I invite you to go to exploraselfmba.com, and there is the program Hack Your Mind Before It Hacks You. Also, at exploraselfmba.com, you have a 30 minutes free MBA session, Mindset Business Audit with me. If you want to know and understand better on what should you focus right now, how to develop that critical thinking, that strategic thinking, can you get the essential together so that you can lay the foundation on which you are going to build faster and move next into the growing your business. Here I am, ready to serve and help you. So don't hesitate, do that right now. Go in the description below. There are the links. You're going to find them all right there, easy to be accessed. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel. Share this video with someone which is building their business, wants to grow their business, but is struggling because there are so many things they're worrying about, and you want them to grow. You want to see them going through this phase faster. Share this video, subscribe to this channel, support our mission, and we'll be here improving and serving and helping you so that we all can grow together, so that we all together can learn how to not get blindsided by our own ambition, not by the ambition as it was somebody else's, by ourselves, our ambition. So how can we get out of that conviction that every problem needs to be solved? Let's focus on our strengths. Let's be aware of our weaknesses, and let's not let those weaknesses to stop us from believing who are meant to be, from who we together can become. Thank you for your attention. We'll see each other in the next Masterclass. Take care. Bye-bye.